Dead broke. This is the bottom of the chart and the one nobody wants to talk about with their name attached to it. Dead broke isn't just having no money, it's having negative money, where the balance after every obligation is calculated is somewhere below zero, and the math doesn't improve next month either. This is the level where every financial decision is a triage decision. Not which bill to pay, but which one to let go past due without the most immediate consequence. Food, rent, utilities, transportation, these don't all get covered at the same time. So the question becomes, which one failing causes the least immediate damage? Dead broke in America is not a moral condition, it is a mathematical one. And the distance between this level and the next one is frequently one stable paycheck, which is exactly what makes it so difficult to cross when the paycheck itself is the thing that isn't stable. Paycheck to paycheck. The most populated level on this entire list. Nearly 60% of Americans report living here. Not broke, not comfortable, but exactly in between, where the income covers the obligations and leaves almost nothing behind when it does. Every month is a successful completion of a very tight puzzle. Every unexpected expense is a genuine crisis rather than an inconvenience, because there is no buffer absorbing the impact. The paycheck to paycheck level is the one that looks fine from the outside. The bills are current, the lights are on, the car is running, and feels precarious from the inside every single day. The anxiety of this level isn't about poverty, it's about proximity. One bad month away from a level most people refuse to even say out loud. The survival surplus. This is the first level where something is left over. Not much, maybe a few $100s a month after everything is covered, but something. Enough to start building the smallest possible cushion against the next unexpected thing. The survival surplus person isn't comfortable yet. They're not investing, not planning long-term, not thinking about retirement in any concrete way. But they've crossed the line where every dollar has a specific emergency job the moment it arrives. The dangerous thing about this level is how easily it slides back down. One medical bill, one car repair, 1 month of reduced hours at work, and the surplus disappears before it ever had a chance to become anything. Building here requires the same discipline as building at any other level, with significantly less margin for the mistakes that are inevitable along the way. The lower middle class. This level has stability without security. A meaningful distinction that most people at this level understand in their bones, even if they've never put those exact words to it. Income is consistent. The major bills are manageable. There might even be a small savings account with an amount in it that would genuinely help in a crisis, but wouldn't survive a serious one. The lower middle class in America is the level that works the hardest relative to what it accumulates. Full-time jobs, often more than one income in the household, real effort and real discipline, and still finds that the gap between where they are and where they need to be to feel actually secure is wider than the income growth available to them has ever moved fast enough to close. The middle class, the most mythologized level in the American financial conversation, and increasingly one of the hardest to actually define. The middle class has a home, or is working toward one, has retirement accounts that exist and are being contributed to even if the numbers inside them are behind where every online calculator says they should be, has health insurance, has the ability to take a vacation once a year without the financial consequences lasting longer than the trip itself. Here's what the middle class in 2025 actually feels like from the inside. Expensive. The lifestyle that used to represent stability now requires 2 incomes, careful management, and the consistent awareness that most of the assets on the balance sheet are tied up in a house that can't be spent and the retirement account that can't be touched for decades. The upper middle class. This is where financial anxiety starts to genuinely quiet down on the first list on this list, not disappear, but become background noise instead of the loudest thing in the room. Household income is strong, the retirement accounts are on track, there's a real emergency fund that could absorb an actual emergency, and discretionary spending exists in a way that doesn't require a week of mental math before every decision. Upper middle class is also the level where lifestyle inflation does its most sophisticated damage, because the income is high enough that the upgrades feel completely earned, and the consequences of choosing them over building wealth are invisible for long enough that most people don't notice them until the window for compounding has already been significantly shortened. The comfortable wealthy. net worth in the range that most Americans consider genuinely rich, and the first level where the money itself starts doing meaningful work without requiring constant active effort to maintain. Investment accounts generating real returns, real estate producing income, a financial picture that has compounding working in its favor rather than against it. The comfortable wealthy don't worry about money in the way every level below them does, but they worry about it differently. Protecting it, managing it, making sure the decisions being made today don't quietly erode what took decades to build. This is the level that most Americans point to when they say they want to be rich. It's also the level at which most people who reach it realize that the psychological relationship with money doesn't automatically upgrade along with the account balance. The high net worth, a specific financial designation, generally defined as $1 million or more in liquid investable assets, not counting the primary home. At this level, the money has genuinely separated from the labor. The portfolio is large enough that its annual returns, in a reasonable market, exceed what most Americans earn in a year of working. This is the level where decisions about money become genuinely complex. Tax strategy, estate planning, investment diversification across asset classes most people never interact with. High net worth individuals are simultaneously far more common than popular culture implies, and far less common than financial media makes the path to getting here sound. There are roughly 22 million of them in the United States. There are 335 million people in the United States. The ultra-wealthy. This is the level where the rules that apply to every level below it simply stop applying. At ultra-high net worth, generally $30 million and above, the financial system operates in a fundamentally different way. Tax structures that don't exist for anyone below this threshold. Access to investment vehicles, deals, and opportunities that are legally unavailable to retail investors. The ability to absorb a financial loss that would be catastrophic at any lower level without the overall picture meaningfully changing. Ultra-wealthy isn't just having more money than the comfortable wealthy, it's existing inside a different version of the financial system entirely, one with different rules, different access, and different consequences for every decision made inside it. The billionaire. This level is so far outside the scale of normal human financial experience that the numbers involved stop being emotionally real to most people who try to process them. $1 billion is $1,000 million. At a standard investment return, the interest alone generated annually exceeds what most Americans will earn across an entire working lifetime, without the principal changing at all. Billionaire wealth at scale doesn't behave like money in any way that most people's intuition about money applies to. It doesn't get spent in any meaningful sense. It compounds, it influences, it shapes industries and policy, and the options available to everyone at every level below it. There are roughly 800 billionaires in the United States. The bottom half of American households collectively hold about 2.5% of total wealth. Both of those numbers are accurate at the same time, which is the part that takes a moment to actually sit with. 10 levels, 1 country. Which level are you actually on right now? Not where you want to be, but where you actually are. Drop it below.